Hey, everybody, it's that time of month, and this is The Philosophy of a Photo Artist, November 2025. I've got 5 issues to deal with, 4 questions, and one of them is the big elephant in the room, and the other one has to do a little dig on Adobe. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist, and we generally cover 3 different things. Number one is not so much about our camera gear, but we talk about techniques in using our camera. It's not about software per se, it's about what we do with the software. And then again, understanding the difference between a traditional photographer versus a photo artist and pushing ourselves to think creatively out of the box. Okay, once a month I do a concept called The Philosophy of a Photo Artist, where I address some concerns and questions that you guys have. And I tried to cherry pick the ones that most people would benefit from. So I'm going to cover 5 major issues here. 4 of them are questions. One's a big elephant in the room that I'll talk about at the end. But another one's a little dig on Adobe that I'll share with you on some of my frustration with that company once in a while. But again, let's dive into the program here. But before we do this, I'd like to do a big thank you to everybody that's been supporting the channel and helping out. So here's a list of all the names, and I'll keep it up there for a while. Hopefully I did cover everybody. This has to do with the month of October, the ones that supported the channel by going to buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist. I really appreciate it. This is a very small channel. This is not what I do for a living, but it does help keep me motivated. So thank you very much. And for the ones that are fairly new to this, the link will be in the show notes. And let me just show you this really quick here. Once you come to, again, buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist, you'll see the home tab right here. This is where you can donate a cup of coffee or 2 for $3 for a coffee. That helps support the channel. But also remember to go to the extra tab. And a lot of you have been doing that. And there's different things that you could purchase that are very reasonable in price. You'll see that it's $5 to $7. One over here is $3. There's a little promo video. So if you click on something like this, you can watch a promo video and that will share with you what this is about. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's jump into the questions and issues that have been brought up about this channel. So let's do it. All right, I had to write down the questions here so I don't forget. And the first question is, do I have my own studio? And the answer is yes. It's in the basement of my home, and I think I should really give you a tour on that. It's really a basic studio, but this is where I would photograph kids. It might be like a couple, headshots, that kind of stuff. I've done high school seniors here, and because I stopped doing client work now, as of this year, it was May of 2025, I started cleaning out my basement in certain areas. So my studio is a wreck right now, but I would love to actually, when I get things done, and probably it's not going to happen until next year in 2026, I would love to show you what a simple studio it is. And so you don't have to have something very elaborate. But I think I'd like to do some behind the scenes type things on some maybe still life photography and other things, and explain the lighting and why I'm approaching things a certain way. I think that would be fun and helpful for anybody that would like to do photography in their own home. That definitely, I'm sure, would help you out. So do I have a studio? Yes, it's not active right now, but it will be back, let's say in 2026. All right, second question. Do I really need to have a website in photography? And the answer is yes and no. And what I mean by that is, I don't know what your intent is in photography. If this is a hobby and just you're doing this for fun, the answer is no, you probably don't. I mean, you could post things on Instagram, social media for free, if that's what you want to do. If you feel you need to have a website, you can. There is an expense because you're going to have to get a special domain name registered, which costs some money, and you have to renew that every few years. And also the cost of, what service are you going to use? because most of us are not web developers and designers. So we use different companies out there that offer services. I use Zenfolio, but I have no affiliation with them, so I don't want to think that I'm promoting them to try to get you to use them. There are other ones out there. Just do your research on that. But it's really important if you are in business, even though I have mentioned that I have never gotten a client through my website. Mainly is the only people that would go to my website are other photographers. So then why did I have a website? Well, it builds credibility. People take you more serious, other photographers, I should say, take you more serious if you have your own website. Now, I have mentioned to clients that hired me, but it came through referrals, sitting down with them and going like a wedding shoot, let's say, as an example. And I would mention my website for them, or if I'm shooting, children for a family, and I will mention I have a website, but most of that came from referrals from them seeing my work that other people purchase a print from, that kind of stuff. My philosophy in marketing myself was a little bit different than most people. So the other thing that was important today is about the question, is it important to have a website? Well, I was invited to be a speaker at a winter convention here in Michigan. And let me just show you the promo image that they did. It's called Great Lakes PhotoMax. Again, it was in February of 2025, and I was asked to be one of the featured speakers here. And this is me down right here. And of course, one of the things in the application that was sent to me was, what is your web address? Because having a website is a big deal. I've got 75 to 80 some people in a room, and most of these people are in business and photography. Only a small percentage, it's a hobby. The rest of the people, they're in the business. And if I go there and I don't have a website, well, probably I wouldn't be able to even speak, but because I would lose credibility by not having a website. But they expect, the people there in the audience expect that for me to have a website. So it depends on what your goal is and what you want to do. And again, my talk there was really based about how Photoshop basically, what it's done to my photography and business. And I actually use Photoshop as a marketing tool to get business. So that's what my talk was about, and I actually demoed Photoshop. But again, the answer is going to be yes or no. It's really, what is your goal? What is your intent? Okay. You can do this as a hobby and still pay for it and have a website if you want, but do you really need one if this is a hobby? And the answer is no. I mean, just post stuff on, social media and whatever your favorite one is out there. So that was the answer. Maybe a little bit long on that one. And somebody also asked, or not just one, but quite a few have asked, why do I do compositing? Well, here's one example right now, and that is it helped me separate myself from other photographers out there to get business. But the other thing I'm going to share with you, let me jump into some images here. So hold on to that thought. And let me close out of this. And let me go over here just to change my settings. And some of these images, if you've been following me, you have seen this. But the main thing was about right around the end of 2006, going into 2007, I got interested in compositing. And I find that very few photographers do this kind of stuff. They just do traditional, type of photography. And the reason I do compositing in the very beginning, because I didn't know it was going to be a marketing technique for me, I just got bored with standard photography. Now, before I move further, I love traditional photography, don't get me wrong, but I have this creative juice inside of me that I need to push out and express myself a little bit differently. And that's how I got into compositing. And I love doing compositing. So this is just some quick examples of people I've done composites with. I mean, this was just a standard photo shot. I dropped all this stuff in that didn't exist in the image to do a little bit more creative. This kind of style, I was very influenced by following documentaries on Norman Rockwell, and I sort of came up with this style. And Joel Grimes, one of my major mentors, really put his arm around me to help me on developing this and pushing my creativity in this area. And then things like this. This was shot in a parking lot with all a bunch of busy stuff in the background. And this is a composite of this gentleman that owns, at that time, I think it was 2020, it was a brand new Corvette. But I did a composite with the cityscape in the background. And this went viral. Car people know car people. And all of a sudden, I'm photographing other people that have got, collection of cars, sports cars, that kind of stuff, not thinking at that time that that was going to propel me to do that kind of work. And it was all referral based. Things like this, high school seniors. This young man was a gamer. So I did the traditional stuff in photography that the parents wanted. But then when I showed him an example of a gaming thing I can do, he just loved that. And he got a large print. And because of that, I was getting phone calls from his friends that are gamers that were graduating high school, and they wanted to have me do their traditional photography, but they also wanted something like this. And so it was a marketing tool I was discovering in Photoshop that propelled me away from, say, traditional photographers, and it made me stand out. Even with models, working with models. I've worked with Jenny many times. Jenny called me up and said, "Hey, Steve, I'm getting married. I would love to have you photograph my wedding." And I said, well, unfortunately, I stopped doing weddings in 2019 because of my age. I love shooting weddings, but physically it was getting harder for me to do that. And so I had to back out on that. But again, if I was still active doing weddings, I would have photographed her. And in things like this is my grandkids from years ago, and this is a composite. It's a large print I bring out that's framed, and I put it on an easel next to my fireplace during Christmas time or the holiday times. My daughter has the same image. Because of other people seeing this, it actually just propelled me to do other people's, children. And so compositing is just pushing my creativity, I guess. I've got that edge where I need to do that type of thing. And plus, it separated me from other photographers, and it helped me as a marketing tool to get additional work. So that is the reason why I got into compositing. One was the creativity, but also it turned into a marketing ploy. Okay, so the next thing is a little nitpick on Adobe that I need to vent a little bit about. So let's get into that one right now. Okay, before I get into the big elephant in the room, which is the last thing I'll talk about, this one just sort of bugs me a little bit about Adobe. And I love the company, but here we go with the software. So right here in Photoshop, let me just double click to open up something here. This is opening up a RAW file. So this is Adobe Camera Raw. And a few weeks ago, I did a video on basically whatever happened to a feature called Enhance. And Enhance was if you opened up something like this in Photoshop and you did a right mouse click, you would have a feature in there called Enhance. Well, it wasn't there before, okay? But now it's back again. And it bugged me that, okay, they got rid of Enhance. It's no longer there. Oh, they stuck it in an area, I didn't want to do that, called Detail. And then there was a feature called Enhance. Then they took it out. And then they stuck in different language in there. And then it was gone. It was gone on the beta version. It was gone because I got emails. Whatever happened, to Enhance or the feature in Detail? It's now gone that you showed. And I'm going, what are you talking about? It's gone. So I opened up. I always keep Photoshop updated as it. We get our updates all the time. I just never paid attention. And also they go back to Detail over here, and I go, son of a gun, it's back. It's called Super Resolution. But what also is back, and that is if you do a right mouse click anywhere in your image here, there is Enhance, something that we originally happened before. Now, it's here it says the Enhance feature has been moved to the Detail panel. Okay, so I guess a lot of people got confused as to what the heck is going on. So, it's a minor beef, but it makes me look like sometimes I don't know what I'm talking about because all of a sudden I'm showing on a demo that, hey, this is no longer there. It's gone. And I don't know why it's gone, but it's gone. And then all of a sudden people are saying, what are you talking about gone? It's back or it's here, type of thing. And I'm looking and go, son of a gun. So anyhow, that's a minor thing is that it's hard when you're doing a YouTube channel, which I'm learning about, and it's something that was posted, say, 2-3 months ago that we had, and then 2-3 months go by, and then people go back and look at that old video, and they go, well, what are you talking about? That feature's not there. And I'm thinking, what? And then I go, you're right. And then here we go down the road again, and I'm saying, I'm sorry, but that feature's gone. And a couple of months maybe go by, and people are going, what are you talking about? It's here. There we go. It's back again. So that bothers me a little bit, but it just happens because I'm trying to maintain a YouTube channel, and sometimes things disappear, then they come back again, disappear, and they come back with maybe a different name or different interface. So I apologize for that, but this stuff is not my fault. All right, so let me cancel out of that, and I'm going to close out of this, and we're going to get into the last issue, and that is the big elephant in the room. That not only I got private emails about that from the subscribers of this channel, but also some of my photographer friends were dumping on me a little bit. So let's dive into that issue right now. All right, so here we go with the big elephant in the room and question, and that is, what are your thoughts about Canva buying out Affinity? And now the software is not called Affinity Photo 2, it's just called Affinity, and it's free. Is this going to kill Adobe Photoshop and Adobe products? So let's talk about that, and we'll talk about the pros and cons of this and what my opinion is. But again, it's my opinion only. You may disagree with it or agree with it, but it is what it is. So first of all, if you don't know about it, if you go and do a search for Affinity, you can get this for free, Mac and PC. And when it opens up, this is what the interface looks like. Now, here's the thing that I do like about it, but we're going to talk about pricing, because I hear, oh, it's free. Well, free, sort of, okay? But I think this is a good thing. I really like this, but I'll talk about more in depth why I like what they did and why really I've played with this software. I don't really use it, and I'll explain why. But for other people, this is going to be great. So number one is they actually took all the 3 programs they had and stuck it into one interface. So look at this. If you want to do vector-based designs, this is equivalent to Adobe Illustrator. Pixel means basically, okay, similar to Photoshop. And then the last one is layout. That is equivalent to InDesign. Now, I don't use InDesign. I don't use Illustrator. I just use Photoshop. And this is a darn good program. It's free, and it's great. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room on this, and that is, if you want any AI features, let me jump over here real quick to the pricing on Affinity. And again, free with updates. I think this is great, and I'll talk about who this should be for. But if you want the the AI features and stuff, then yeah, you're going to get the pro version and pay $120 a year. Now, I'm not going to get into the business one and the enterprise one. Most people are, if they want the AI, they're going to go with the pro version. And you have the option of $120 a year, or if you want to go monthly, let me change that to monthly, it's $15 a month. So it's equivalent to, like, I'm paying $15 a month for Photoshop that I get along with, the Bridge and Adobe Lightroom. So basically it's the same amount for me, but I've also heard that the price has gone up to $20 for Adobe on the Photoshop suite, because of the fact that I was grandfathered in for years and years, and that's why I'm probably getting it for $15. But the point is, if you want the AI features, you're going to have to pay for that. But a lot of people don't need the AI features, so I think it's a good thing. But let's talk about why most people that use Adobe Photoshop, why they're not dropping it and they're going to say Affinity on this. And it makes a lot of sense. And I've actually done this myself. And that is, if you're doing this as a business and you have a team that you're working with, there's a lot of corporations, small businesses and corporations that have their own, say, marketing department or whatever, and they use a suite of products from Adobe. All their employees are used to using these products. And so to drop that and jump into something that's free or is less expensive, let's say, because they need the AI features, they don't have time to learn something new when everybody's proficient in using the software. So they're not going to let that go. And because they're in business, paying that fee is not a big deal for them. But if you're a freelancer out there where it's just you doing this, time is money. And like me, I tried using this product before when I was busy with clients, and it's like, I don't have time to figure this stuff out because there's a lot of differences in it. And so what if it's cheaper? I got to get my jobs done on time for a client in a timely manner. And I just don't have time to play with this. I need to get my work done. And so the $15 a month is not a big deal for me when I'm in business. Now that I don't do business stuff, yes, I'm still going to get it because I paid the $15 because of the fact that I'm so used to Adobe Photoshop and how to get things done. And I try to do my compositing stuff and jump in. And it was just like, I just don't have the time to play with this. Okay. So just because I don't have time to play with this, to figure this stuff out, doesn't mean you don't. If this is a hobby of yours, I think this is a great thing. And plus the other thing is, if we go back to the program here, if you're the type of person that you do use Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign, you know that if you need the AI feature here and it costs you $15 a month in Affinity right here, you know that's a lot cheaper than you getting the suite of those 3 products from Adobe. It may be worth you to jump into this on the side, play with it, see what you think. And if you really like it and you're getting your work done in a timely manner over time, you're getting used to the software, okay, I get it. Jump into the product. There's nothing wrong with that. So everybody's going to have their reasons why they're not going to change over versus people that will change. I'm in love with what they're doing here because I love competition. This is a big shot across the bow at Adobe. And it's going to maybe make Adobe rethink what they're offering. We will see, but competition is very, very important to me. I don't want just one major company out there offering stuff. Just like cameras. I don't want one company to dominate. I want choices in camera bodies to choose from out there. It makes everybody be more competitive. Not only that, but it makes us offer more features and keeping that pricing down. And I think that's a good thing. So that's my thought about this. I mean, a lot of people were screaming, this is the death of Adobe. No, it's not the death to Adobe. Is everybody going to change to Affinity? No. Will a lot of people change? Yes. But most are not, okay? But I think it's a good thing. I really, really do. I admire what Canva is doing here. I think it's a great thing, especially for the ones that, hey, I don't want Photoshop. I don't need it. I'll use the Pixel version of this. It's free and it gives me what I want. Go for it. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So let's just get that out of the way. I think this is a good thing, what happened. You make your choice on what direction you're going to move into. By the way, what are your thoughts on that? Are you going to quit Adobe and jump to Affinity over here and use this? Make comments on that. I know some of you will and some of you won't, but let's make some comments and just have an intelligent conversation out there as to why you might be, jumping other than price, right? So with that out of the way, until next time, this is the end of my once a month thing. Again, just thank you for the people that are supporting the channel at buymeacoffee.com/Team Photo Artist. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Until next time, see ya.